Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. This is John with Tommy's Top Picks, here to give you your weekly update. First, I want to start off by wishing you a happy Thanksgiving and hope you had a good one. Enjoyed some time with your family and had some tasty food if you're American. If you aren't American, well, happy Thanksgiving anyways. It's a good time to be thankful for the things around you and the people in your life. Today we're going to do a market update on a bunch of different things, sales and what's going on in the markets in general, reactions to the Unlimited release and how the market prices are developing. So let's go ahead and jump right in. First things first, yesterday for me, Friday, it was a Black Friday sale on TCG Player and other sites. This allowed a lot of people to pick up cards that they were looking for at better prices than usual or with some sort of discount or money back situation. With TCG Player, it was a money back situation. I saw on Card Kingdom it had a similar thing. And I even think Channel Fireball had something similar. So lots of good deals. I hope you got a chance to pick some stuff up and were able to, get some of those spicy bits that you've been looking for. For me, I was mostly going for cold foils that I had not gotten into my collection yet. Dreamweavers being one of them, Ironhide Gauntlet, Gallantry Gold, Halo of Illumination, and then a handful of the older Monarch ones, Ebb and Fold, Hooves of the Shadow Beast, Stubby Hammers, and I even grabbed one of the Dust Blades from Tale of Aria. Thought that was a good deal at the time. At $37, it had come down a bit from its high, which was nice. I also grabbed a Command and Conquer super cheap at, I think it was $85 for Command and Conquer, which is great because it's been over 100 or near 100 for a while now. So I was happy to be able to pick that up. That's such an expensive card and such a staple that I really wanted to get that when I saw that the price had come down. I think what happens is the markets get flooded. I have a card shop on there, which I only turn on during these holidays, and I tend to, if I want to sell something really badly, I will essentially set the price at the lowest price. So I think a lot of people do that and it stacks up and it lowers the prices. So it's a good time to buy when you see these deals. Not only do you get the 15% back, but if you're paying attention to pricing beforehand and then leading up to it and then the day of, you'll note that some things drop in price and it's a good time to pick them up. So Command and Conquer was the big one. I don't think I've ever seen, since I've been paying attention, Command and Conquer at that low of a price. And frankly, it was only one copy. The next copy was another $5 up. So I managed to grab it. I was very happy about that. And then, of course, all the cold foils that I've been slowly picking up and slowly building my collection of. I'm at the point where I almost have everything I want and can get easily and affordably without feeling like I'm spending too much money on a single card. I have a lot of other stuff that I want to buy for gaming purposes, so I'm trying to balance out the collecting side and the special cards that are of high value versus the useful and then the actual opening side. I like sealed product. It's definitely my favorite way to collect. So I have to balance it out, right? Because sometimes you want those single cards that are just really nice for the collection. Sometimes you need stuff for your decks because you're going to an armory. And then sometimes you just want stuff for the shelf, or at least that's how I look at it. So that's how I took it and got a bunch of good deals. I did not pick up any sealed product because right now I'm actually feeling pretty good about my sealed. I have everything that I want and need until Everfest comes out, really. Unless someone out there has a case of WTR sealed and they are willing to sell it for crypto. If you do, contact me because I will definitely take a reasonable look at that. It's the last thing in my collection that I do not have any of. From what I understand, you really just can't get cases of WTR for reasonable prices. So that's where my collection is. It was a good Black Friday for me. Got a lot of stuff I liked, and I'm pretty happy with it. And just so I'm clear, WTR Alpha. That's really what I need, or I'm looking for. I don't know if I'll ever get it. I've kind of resigned myself to say it's probably beyond my reach. I probably will not ever get it. But I got everything else, so I'm pretty happy with my collection. Maybe someday. Let's see here. What else do we have? Oh yeah, Everfest pre-order allocations have come out. So distributors have given stores and LGSs their allocation. It's not 100%. Apparently different regions are treating it slightly differently based on the distributor and the regional rep. But from what I understand, a good chunk of them are getting actual allocations in the U.S., so the LGSs know exactly how many they have for sale. This is the first time this has happened, as I understand it. The previous two sets, they gave out allocations, but without a strict numeric number, and that's part of what went wrong with Monarch and maybe Tales of Aria, although I don't think it was as bad with Tales of Aria. Essentially, the LGSs sold as many as they could because they weren't given a specific number. So they said, all right, we'll sell it and then we'll get as many as we can. And so they did. And unfortunately, what that led to was too many orders, not enough supply in a lot of stores. And that is where you got a lot of the crazy pricing and various things that happened, unfortunately. So apparently, it seems like LSS has fixed that for Everfest, or at least that is what several LGSs are saying. And so as a result, we should see a smoother rollout of Everfest, we hope. Essentially, the idea is that there's a preset allocation. Hopefully, none of the stores oversell. I guess they could do that, but it would be very unethical and problematic if they did. So I don't think they would want to, because it would just be a bad look for them to, basically say, sorry, we didn't get enough. That would be odd. I don't think they would do that. So essentially, if this all goes to plan, then we will know how many are coming out. We will know to a degree, not, specifically, but each LGS individually will know how many they're getting, how many they're selling, and how many more they might need for a more stable supply run. So that's good and exciting. And I think previously I'd said, and I know I've said it to some of my friends, hold off on pre-ordering. Maybe don't do the pre-ordering. Kind of show that if you don't, pre-order or have a smooth pre-order setup, that people do not trust you and will not do the pre-ordering. And that was, the last couple pre-orders have gotten out of hand. The prices crash immediately. And that's a result of the way they were handling it, LSS and LGSs and distributors, frankly, because they were all involved in one way or another. And so as a result, I'd said stay away from pre-orders. Definitely don't buy over MSRP, which is $99. Now I'm saying, okay, since these allocations are coming out, if you know for a fact that an allocation has been given to the store you're talking to, maybe you can go ahead and pre-order some. I wouldn't go crazy. Definitely don't get yourself in trouble by overdoing it on credit and giving them your money for 4 months essentially ahead of the time. It doesn't make any sense. Don't do that. But if you want to make sure you secure a case or a couple boxes or whatever, maybe support your LGS, sign up for one, for whatever, and go ahead and grab it as long as it's for MSRP. Don't pay over that. Don't pay $125. Don't pay $150. There's definitely sites out there charging like $400 a box right now or some crazy number. It's insane. So don't do that. Don't fall into that trap, because that's how all this mess happened in the last few sets. And we don't want to see a repeat of that. So if you see something that's $99 and it's out there for pre-order, and you trust the store, and you're willing to risk it and have your money locked up for 4 months, then if all those things are true, go ahead and do it. If any of those things are questionable, then don't do it. Don't do it. Just wait. There'll probably be more than enough to go around. There's been price, swings up and down the whole time. I mean, we've seen it again and again. I don't think Crew was in any situation where it was so unbelievably hard to get that you couldn't buy it. I know I have boxes of Crew, and I started when Tales of Aria came out. So clearly it was available to get. The prices were higher, obviously, for me. But the point being that the supply will be there. It will be there for a while. It's not going to disappear overnight. If you're worried about it at all, go ahead and buy a box, $9.99 or $99, and I think it's $99.99 or something like that. But don't go crazy with it, and certainly don't overpay. It's not worth it. You'll get the boxes when the time comes. I don't think they're going to be short supplied. They haven't been for the past 2 sets, as we've seen. So why would they be at this set? That would be very odd. I personally bought a case, just because I wanted to buy it, get it done, forget about it, and not worry about it. And then it will show up on my doorstep as a great surprise when release day comes out. And I'll probably forget about it and buy another case before then, closer to the time at whatever MSRP is, and the one I bought was at MSRP. I'm not paying over for it. So that's my thoughts on that. Definitely the way to think about it in my mind. Some people are saying don't pre-order, don't let them, take our money again, sort of thing. I'm not that negative. I don't think it's anything special. I think there were some screw ups, and I think they've tried to fix it. And then on the other side of it, some people are saying get out there and buy it. It's gonna be out of print and all this stuff. I think that's insane too. I don't think it's gonna be out of print. They kind of have a much better idea of the demand right now. And from what I hear, LGSs are saying the demand for the pre-sale is just not there. So you have that as part of the market data, and that is to say that basically people feel burned by these pre-sales. I know, some of the big retailers and distributors were charging like insane amounts of money for TOA or ELE or whatever, Tales of Aria, and I thought they were insane at the time. I got mine for cheaper, and turns out they were insane because the prices dropped. And that's just how it goes. You got to be careful. I've definitely been screwed. I bought one kit that was way overvalued, overpriced. It had some cool, unique stuff with it, the mat and promo card, but it didn't make up the difference at all. So it wasn't really worth it at the end. So I won't be doing that sort of thing again. I will pre-order a case, and that's it. I'm not going to get sucked into these, fancy kits and all the rest that are overpriced. Now, if they're charging basically $99 a box in the kit, and it comes with a mat and something else, and it's like 2 boxes, and it's like $250. Okay, yeah, now look at it, $275 maybe. If the mat's really cool, there's something I like about it, artists I like, something like that. If there's a reason to do it, then yeah, okay. And then I can see myself doing that, and that's the thing I'll do probably closer to the time from a particular distributor or company or whatever. But we'll see. I mean, we'll see what the kits look like and that sort of thing. I also have the Rudy promo, so I get the discount. So I'll probably actually do his just because I get the discount, which will probably make it a reasonable price. And we'll go from there. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things you got to navigate carefully, and clearly LSS is reacting to what's happened and it's trying to fix it, which I see as nothing but positive. So, don't get crazy. Don't drive the prices up. Don't assume there's no amount of supply, because there probably is. And don't FOMO, just don't FOMO, just buy a certain amount and be fine with it, and don't worry about it, you'll be fine. So before we jump into the actual individual card prices, I only have a small subset that I want to go over. Very interesting news in the competitive space. The first woman to win a Nationals won in Canada, and she did it with an Ice Lexi. She went 25-1 against Briars all over the place. So we've talked about the meta and how the zero deck tech is powerful but not unstoppable, and this is proof. 25-1. Whoa. Crazy, so cool. And it just makes me excited for these other cards. Me and my friends have been playing a lot of games, getting reps in on our different decks and trying to learn how different tech works and such. And oh my gosh, it's so fun. Look at the different meta. It really is a rock, paper, scissors meta that actually plays against each other. You have, and the other thing was Reinhardt was featured in that top 8, I believe, as well, or at least it was in the competitive running. And so you have Brutes making a comeback suddenly when they were considered too inconsistent before. Why? Well, because they swing so big that Briar cannot ignore them. It's kind of interesting, and they can handle most of the other meta right now. So it's a very interesting time. I see the meta shifting drastically over time. It will probably slow down and get quiet because, the Nationals are over, the competitive is over, and we're going into Skirmish season. So a lot of people will be focused more on the deck tech for Blitz, right? And that's actually what we've been doing ourselves. And, it's all well and good. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just, I think by the time we get back to a competitive state, I know Everfest will come out, and so it will change the meta, but even anything in between, I don't know if there's any events in between that are official, but maybe non-official type events, you're going to see it change. I guarantee it. Briar is not going to remain the top. And even if it does, guess what? It's about to go out, because it's at its near its max points, at least as guesstimated by various people that are analyzing this. we are very close to seeing it go into what's it called, legacy mode or whatever, where it's basically a legendary hero and gets retired. So Briar will be out. Obviously the sword will still be in, and Chain is still around for a little bit longer, although Chain has done well recently as well, so it's probably close to getting retired as well. So these are things to keep in mind when you consider things like card prices. So let's jump into some of that. So the Toa set has hit the market in unlimited form, and it has had the very predictable price, depression on various cards that are valuable for use sake. And that is to say, the cards that were overvalued or very expensive because people really wanted to use them, but they were also cold foils, so collectors really wanted to collect them. The cold foil prices have stayed relatively unaffected, with slight modification to the ones that were just super useful and people were really clamoring to get. Obviously, that kind of demand market pressure drove it up a little bit, so you see that decline a little bit as we saw last time. And then even further, the unlimited versions are dropping more drastically from that point. Because for a while there, last week, basically, they were kind of sitting in parity or close, and the market was trying to figure out the prices. So going through it, obviously cold foils are staying about the same. So if you're collecting them, collect them. They're probably a little depressed now because the prices are being affected by the lack of demand from actual users of these cards. Because they're now all going for unlimited versions. So maybe give it another week. I already picked up some stuff that I saw that looked good and was a reasonable price. But, if you give it another week, it'll probably come down. I don't mind, riding a dip, or holding through a dip. And that's what I'm doing with these. The Shield unlimited version, all this will be unlimited, is down to 160. So compared to 210 before, and I think last week it was like 185 or something. The Crown is 159, so about the same area, and they are both used with Old Gym, whatever, a lot. The Creepers, which is the Runeblade one, I think isn't really as used with Briar as much, or rather it's not as useful with her, so it's not as important. It's only 135 in unlimited format, so if you need them, get them. I know it goes well with Chain, and I believe Visari as well, although, don't quote me on that, I'm not a Visari player yet. Shock Charmers have some use, including in that Lexi deck, the Ice Lexi deck. The Shock Charmers were a key factor in her strategy, according to her in an interview. She basically said, I think her name is Yuki, she basically said that, people didn't expect that extra damage coming through, and she always had, it's basically a sink for extra resources, because when you're playing an Ice Lexi, you need to play a resource kind of heavy or focused deck, and what that means is you're going to be creating frostbite tokens to slow them down. You might end up having some extra resources, and you just drop them into the Shock Charmers on your hit, and boom, you just did extra damage. You snuck it through, and people don't see it coming. So it's pretty interesting combo, and the price for that is pretty depressed down at 120. It's the lowest of the big gear sort of stuff. The hood is at 169. No surprise. Look at that. It looks like the hood is super valuable, even after, it's an unlimited version. It is the most expensive of the major gear. So it's interesting to see that the meta is changing and the market is reflecting it. Cold foil commons are dirt cheap right now. I think you can buy like 10 to 12 for like $100. So if you're into the cold foil common collecting, I am personally, it's a great time to buy them because the unlimited stuff is out and no one cares about the commons as much. This is kind of the dippiest point in their price position, and then they should go up from here over the next couple of years or so. Now I'm sure the supply will affect that, so we'll have to see where we are in about a year or two. But I suspect that we'll see that this is around the lowest time. Maybe it's not the exact lowest time, but it's around the lowest time for this this market and this particular set. And then since they're cold foil and they won't do those again, at least I don't think they will, they'll go up in value from here, which will be nice. So I'm looking forward to that. I love the cold foil commons personally. I like having a stack of all these cold foils. And frankly, I'm happy that these other things are here. I've held off on buying the shield because it was so expensive. I did not want to spend $200 when Unlimited was coming. Now $160, I can almost get to. I did not do it at Black Friday, but I can almost get there. Same with the Crown. I've wanted that. The Creepers as well. The Shock Charmers I've actually had, I think, 2 or 3 of those. The Hood I've had 2 of, thankfully. I actually just sold one on Black Friday through my shop, so congratulations to whoever got that. I will be sending it out. Actually, I sent it out earlier today. I think it's at the post office still, though. I don't think it registered in their tracking system yet, So yeah, I mean, that's just how it goes. And markets do what markets do, and it's relatively predictable if you think about it holistically. And that's what we're doing here. So speaking of that, let's talk about where the market's heading. We're heading into skirmish season. Lots of blitz decks, lots of entry-level players, lots of new people starting to come in and getting interested, getting excited, really wanting to build up their decks. Where do you look to determine what you think the market will do next? Well, first place I'd look is top tier blitz decks competitive on something like FabDB, right? Because that's where a lot of people will go to find their net deck list, and they will draw on it and they will use it. So go look at that, look at the gear that's in there, especially the unique legendaries, etc. Look at anything that could be nice to bling out. You could even think about rainbow foils as a possible speculation. I think it's degenerative because there's a ton of them out there, but think about that. And then also core staples. I know a lot of people will be hesitant right now with the recent Everfest news, but give it a month. Give it a month. Mark this on your calendar, and I bet Everfest will be fading into memory because we won't be in the release date period or the preview period. And so what will happen is people forget. They'll forget about the prints, and then all these new players that are coming in with these blitz armory scenarios and whatnot are getting into the game, growing their collections, realizing they need some of these staples, and those prices are going to go up again. So I'm thinking your Command and Conquers, I think, your E-Strikes, your Art of War, Plunder Runs are relatively common, so you won't see that. Snatches, Nimblism, also relatively common, so you probably won't see those as much. But think about the types of cards that are used in these competitive decks, particularly your Briars. I think Briar is well suited. I believe it was on Fab TCG. I saw an article. I could be wrong. It might have been somewhere else, but I saw an article recently that said the top meta for actually doing skirmishes for Blitz is Ira #1, and I think Ira has held that position since release in 2018. Has always been a very strong contender in Blitz. Briar was the newcomer on the block, and then Kano, something most people haven't thought about in a long time. Your wizard with wizard gear and wizard items and wizard specialty cards. So if you want to speculate on Blitz, probably think about those because you're going to see those 3 decks winning a lot. So your masks and your the boots, the ninja boots, your wizard boots. I'm trying to think. I don't think there's much else for the wizard that's super useful. Maybe Arcanite Skullcap. Yeah, probably don't want to speculate on that, though, because we know reprinting's coming. So I honestly think the price is going to continue to fall over time. Maybe you'll get a dip and then a rise before it dips when it gets reprinted. But that one we actually know for a fact, where everyone else will kind of forget which things they think are going to happen, or they'll start speculating on new things, and that's when that will change. And then, of course, your Briar staples. So you want to think about, the Shock Charmers and the Tunics and the rest, right? Those are all cornerstones for that strategy. The Tunic is pretty critical, actually, and not that it's hard to speculate on Tunics. They're expensive and have always been expensive, but I think they're at lower prices now than they have been in a while. I think I saw one at $180, something like that. Now, granted, it was, Krunic, non-foil, blah, 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 but that's the sort of thing you need to realize people are going to be wanting over the next few months as they get into Blitz, and then realize their gear is not quite there and slowly save up their money, and then are ready to dive in with the real deal gear and get more serious about it and competitive as we go into next year. So, I mean, that's basically it. I think there's a lot of opportunity here in this market. I think we're going to see some interesting fluctuations over the coming months. I think we'll even see a little further decline in TOA prices on the uncommons. The second edition, unlimited edition of the big equipment. I think that's very viable. Something to keep an eye out. Lightning Press is a critically useful card for both Lightning heroes. It gets through extra damage so well, and it has a big, presence in the competitive space. So it's worth keeping an eye on that. And I know the red foil lightning presses have been speculated on. The prices have gone up. So, as we close this out, start thinking about utility. Start thinking about what the common person that's just getting into the game will want, what they'll have, most likely Toa, and then what they'll start chasing after. So Briars and the like, before they look back at History and Ira and the others, and Kano. But that's my take on it. Hey, there you go, red lightning press and foil. I know that's worth a couple bucks actually. So that's my take on it as we close out this box here. Let's go ahead and finish this last pack, and we'll go ahead and take a look at it, clean this up, take a look at what we got here, and I'll come back with the prices. And we're back. Well, let me tell you, this was not a great box. This is a third in a row. Flash freeze at $1. Ah, boy. Flash freeze rainbow foil at $1.50. Endless winter at $3. Lightning press rainbow foil, like I said, $14. Wow. Light it up, $5.29. Terra Sunder is $7.15. Blink is $1.42. And Channel Mount Heroic at $2 for a grand total of $35.36. Boy, was this a bummer box. But I told you, that Lightning Press Rainbow Foil, that's not a super rare card. $14. That's crazy, right? Prices may have been adjusted since Black Friday. I actually haven't looked more recently than that, so worth checking that out. But if you like the content, subscribe, hit the like button, leave a comment, and I'll see you next time. Hopefully that last box is better than these three. Have a good one.